Well, hello! I want to welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. I cleaned out a whole bunch of pens over this past week. Some of them may not have been empty. But anyway, I've got a new batch this week. I'm not even sure if any of them are survivors from last week. So let's dive into them and take a look. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I'd invite you to subscribe. And hey, if you want to talk about these pens, or do you ever cheat and empty out a pen before it's empty? Talk about that too. So let's take a look. So I'll just get the horse out of the bag. Well, sorry, wow. Let the cat out of the bag, wow. I'm really sorry about that. Cat out of the bag right away. I sometimes do get tired of an ink and a pen combination, or both, and they're gone. So, left to right, I have an Aurora 88 with a flex nib. I have another Aurora 88 with what seems to be a very flexy nib. This is a vintage one, this is a modern one. Under my links for the vintage one of the reviews, but I don't remember which one, is going to be for comparison of the two. I have an Aurora DuoCart. I have a Tatung 717. I have a Noodler's Neponset. I have a Platinum 3776, which at this point has absolutely nothing to do with my ongoing project to review the Platinum 3776 and its slip and seal mechanism. And I have a Lamia Safari. So those are the pens I have inked. Let's check out how they write. As always, I'll use my Bomo art journal, which is almost out of pages. This is my first pen. It's an Aurora 88. This has been on my list of pens I really want to have. This one is a little special from the typical Aurora 88. It has a flex nib. Orange finish, which I know isn't usually my thing, but didn't bother me over much either. Just in case you were wondering, that's what the Aurora Flex nib looks like. It's a 14 karat gold nib, ebonite feed, and I don't know if the F is for fine or flex, but whatever. The ink in it is one I have tried before. I wasn't going to buy a bottle, but then I did. I'll be honest, the reason I bought it is it turned out, even though it doesn't have the sheen the way I thought it would from the advertising, it's actually a very nice color. So this is River of Fire. So if it's a river of fire, it must be very polluted and it's caught on fire. Of course, I did a vintage Aurora 88 as its companion. This is one of my top pens. I just really enjoy the design. It's very attractive and it's a good writer. Just kind of a winner all around. Semi-hooded nib, which is kind of an advantage over hooded nibs. And I recently saw a chart, although I don't know how genuine it is, which suggests that means flexible, which is certainly borne out. Right here. We have not gotten the promised summer storm, unless you count the thunder and lightning that came while I'm writing Robert 88. Unless you count the thunder and lightning that came last week while I was editing Pens in Use Together. School is starting soon, so I'm probably going to be forced to move this to Sunday when I really should be doing it anyway. For my Instagram channel, I wanted to compare the Aurora 88 and the Aurora DuoCart. I Not sure how I feel about IGTV, but I'm going to be doing that. This is a pen that was kind of a descendant of the vintage Aurora 88. Also a semi-hooded nib, although this is the modern incarnation. It had a steel nib and it had a cartridge rather than a piston mechanism. And I just noticed a whole gob of ink around the section. Holy buckets. And I have not had that trouble with this pen before, so I don't know if it's the ink or did I drop the pen or something that I just don't remember. So I'm cleaning, quick wiping off the nib and section and a little bit of the cap. I'll take the cap upstairs later and clean it out. But anyway, it's an Aurora DuoCart. When I purchased this, they did not come with a choice of nibs. This is the modern version, which, by the way, is apparently going to come out in some new finishes soon. Not with the vintage packaging. I was just lucky to get that, I guess. But these were all medium nibs. And the ink I have in this is I don't know what this has to do with Matahari, but it's Noodler's Matahari's Cordial, which I think is a gorgeous ink. But it may be I just have a weird interest in the First World War. I'm kind of wondering if part of the ink around everything is just because it's so flippin' hot right now. Right here we got north of 100 degrees today, and I do actually have an air conditioner in my living room, but that's new this year. My next pen is a Tatung 717. Vintage, well, I don't know if it's vintage, but older Chinese pen. I'll be doing actually my plan is to record a video of this yet. It's got the demonstrator bit right here. This hides the filling mechanism, which is just a straightforward piston. No screwing or anything. And then it's a screw cap pen with a lovely nib, steel nib. Actually, this simple steel nib writes very nicely. I was also noticing, I read, this is actually called, sometimes called a Tatung Cadet. The ink I have in it is Bookbinders. This is the only example of this ink I have. I bought several samples of the other colors. They're all snake themed, and I love the theme of snakes, but honestly the inks really didn't do much for me except for this one. So I haven't purchased any others, and I probably won't. It does have a slight sheen to it, but it's also very slow drying and seems to turn into tar in the pen after a few days, so I'm just not super impressed. My next pen is a Noodler's Neponset with, I want to say it's the Algonquin finish, I can't remember off the top of my head. What I did is I was experimenting with the Nemosine nibs, or as I've heard it pronounced once or twice, but I'm uncomfortable doing so, Nemosine. So if you know for sure, let me know. But anyway, these are the touchdown nibs that are somewhat, well, they're heated, not fire polished, but fired. I don't remember the exact size on this one, but I'm going to go with a guess that makes sense in it to me. Oops, and it's not that type of pen. It is a Noodler's. I have found these aren't particularly wet nibs, so it's behaving well with this ink, which is a discontinued ink, by the way. Not that it's an exciting ink, but it is discontinued, Omas Black. Which, being discontinued, is why it didn't become my regular black ink. I had this out for another video, and I decided to ink it up again. I'm still continuing my series on the Platinum 3776. I'm not ready to unveil the next one. That'll be toward the end. In fact, school will probably have started by then. But this one has been unveiled, and I thought, I need to pull it out because I like this model of pen, and this is one of my particular favorites. I have a broad nib in it. And you may have heard me move my thing. I just had to quick look at the name of the ink. This is a sample that was sent to me by a viewer, Robert Oster. Blue Water Ice. And this is going to sound horribly ungrateful and maybe a little bit cruel, but I feel like I've heard that expression referring to, you know, like when an airplane drops sewage. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I've heard that. It's an attractive enough blue. It has a little bit of sheening if you get it dark enough and on the right paper. Not a lot of sheen, but it is an attractive blue. This one is a Lamia Safari. This is one of my Survivor pens. I reviewed this pen about 4 years ago. So you'll see my Survivor pen video of this sometime this fall. I still have it. It's a special edition color. They did a coral edition. I have replaced the nib, in fairness. I did buy a fine originally, but I replaced it with a black nib. And I'm using their special edition ink, which I have read on Fountain Pen Network that Lamy is coming out with some new colors this year. So if that's the case, that's kind of exciting. Not a pen I honestly use all the time. It's not one I avoid. It just, I have other fine point nibs that excite me more. So those are the pens and inks I'm using this week. I thought I would show you one other thing I have here. A pen pal recently sent me a letter, and she had seen my, was it last week or a week before, I'd mentioned pile of cards as a filing system, and I think I had written to her and mentioned that. Anyway, she sent me some index cards that she likes. These are made by Baron Fig. I've kind of gotten into the Exocompta. No, I don't have one down here. The Exocompta index cards. They're 3x5. They're a grid. The thing I don't like about them is they don't seem to come in white. They're just in colors that are everything but white. But what I like about these that are made by Baron Fig, dot grid. And when you go card by card by card, and you start flipping through the stack, they actually seem to be pretty consistent with the dots, which is kind of a strange thing to care about, but I think is a good thing. And I did find that they're reasonably fountain pen friendly, so let's demonstrate that real quick. I'm not going to write with every single pen. I did that already, so I'll just write with one or two here. See, try that with a regular index card, and you will have a feathery, maybe even bleedy mess. So, yeah, these are really good pens, or a really good index card. So I'm super tempted to purchase one. So yeah, now that's 2 cards I've just wasted on trying them out, but that's okay. If I were to offer criticism, which isn't much of one, The rounded corners aren't quite my thing. But it's not a big deal because it's not like you write corner to corner anyway. In other exciting news, it is, I think I said already, it's hot here. The garden is growing really well. The drip tape is working amazingly. I am still producing a lot of crops. I have just harvested a bunch of beans. I should be out there right now harvesting a bunch more. I harvested a bunch of broccoli today. I figured with the heat it's just going to bolt, so I harvested it. Nice thing with broccoli is it will continue to produce till it just freezes solid. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I ended up pulling all my cauliflower except for one. They just the heads were starting to bolt without having really produced yet. So the one that has not bolted yet has also not really produced yet. So I thought I'd leave it and see what it does. Happy I have the new bed. Some of the weeds are coming up, so I got to go out there and dig them up because it's one of those deep-rooted weeds actually that's coming up in it right now. So yay. Other exciting news, next week is my last free week, and then the week after that school will start on I believe August 25th. I should find out for sure before it actually does start. I've been spending way too much time lately indoors trying to get ready. We're going one-to-one computers this year, which is totally new world to me, so we'll see. It's going to be easy to stay indoors this weekend because at 100 degrees each day, it's not like I really want to travel. I need to recharge the air conditioner in my car. I haven't done that yet, so yeah, I have no desire to travel in a hot car. And yeah, so I'll just stay here. And that's about it that's going on. So I want to thank you for watching. Got to do my closing. Forgot that last week. So videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old, I would invite you to subscribe. And if you'd like to talk about the pens you're using this week, or maybe one of the pens I used this week just struck your fancy, or maybe you just want to criticize me for putting a fan at the base of my stairs, in any case, invite you to leave a comment down below. So I thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.